Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. John on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor back at you with Pro Fan Sports Podcast with my boys Vlad and Barry. What's good, fellas?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys? How we doing?
We're chilling, man. We're chilling. So this week we're here doing a special segment, which is sponsored this week. So shout out to our sponsors this week. But first, we'd like to please encourage you to send us an email at profansports1@gmail.com if you want questions answered on the show. And also, please follow us on social media, profans_sports for Instagram, profansports on everything else. So that's Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you like to watch, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're dropping every Wednesday for the YouTube, and our podcast drops on all streaming platforms every Tuesday morning at 8. And so again, back with our sponsors. This week's sponsors is Flicker Lighter, and that's FLKRLYTR, Flicker Lighter. And if you don't know what a Flicker Lighter is, think of a fidget spinner and a lighter put together. So if you're a person that gets distracted a lot, maybe you have ADD or something like that, this might be something you can use, although, maybe you want to pay attention to it. So we got actually a custom-made lighter. Maybe we'll give it away to a lucky fan. But also, please follow them on all social media platforms also. And they got a Kickstarter out there, and it's a good product. I've used it. I got a lighter right here. And, I'm a 420 friendly guy. And then last but not least, we're actually here at the Kush Groove shop with our boy Ernst Appolon. If you don't know the Kush Groove shop, you want to check it out. It's 541 Mass Ave in Cambridge, right in Central Square. So if you want to support black-owned businesses like you support our podcast, please come through, meet Ernest. He's a cool dude. And
Thank you.
Just to let you guys know why Ernest is on the show, this week is actually a show about marijuana in sports, and we felt like Ernest was a good guy to call up. And thank you, Ernest, for letting us do this show. So why don't you go ahead?
It's not because everybody's probably gonna be in the comments like my name is so pronounced as Ernst, but I know
Ernst.
Yeah, so when you play this, everybody's gonna be like, nah. I already know the backlash you're gonna get.
Yep. Okay. No, that's good.
For years, my
That's
name
good.
was Ernst, and the teacher was like, "Your name is Ernst," because I didn't like Ernst.
Okay.
And
So he got the real Haitian
Ernst Appolon.
Ernst Appolon. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, back at it. We're here at the Kush Groove shop, which Ernst Appolon, he's a owner of the shop as well, and he's had a background in the sporting industry, and we're here talking to him about a couple things. But I definitely want to know a little more about the Kush Groove shop, like when it originated, how you came involved, and things like that.
Word. Well, I'm one of 4 owners of the Kush Groove shop. Kush Groove originated in 2011, which was created by Mike Pyers and my other partner, Marcus Johnson Smith. You may know him on social media, and you may know him throughout the community. I came on board in 2013. I was running around doing other stuff as well with other brands, and including my other stuff that I had going on. Ever since I came on board, we've just been grinding, just straight grinding. First we started off with just t-shirts. It started off as a t-shirt and hat and just a gear company, a clothing company. Then in 2014, from just years of just preparation, we was fortunate to have the opportunity to open our flagship store, which is located on 1536 Tremont Street in Boston in Mission Hill. We opened that. That's been going for 4 years now, and the location we're at here today, we actually opened this on March 15th, was the original grand opening. Then COVID and everything happened, and we had to shut down, and we had to reopen again June 1st. So this is our second location after 4 years of just learning, getting more involved, making the switch from clothing to a retail store to a smoke shop. So we've just been learning, and now we're actually making a transition to marijuana recreational. So that's going to be the next step. But Kush Groove started in 2011, and ever since then we've just been grinding. We went from the clothing to retail to now recreational, God willing. That's a little quick rundown. That's not full. I could go into
Right.
That's a quick little rundown.
Right. You know, because you guys been doing some things in the community. I've definitely been paying attention for a long time. So I think it's cool, you know, guys from the same community coming through and doing something, you know, for themselves, you know, not only as role models, but,
Right.
you know,
And
black
also,
men in the community.
I'm sorry, and also free our brother Frizz. That's our other owner. He's just currently locked down right now, but free him as well.
Yes, sir. You know that. Support them guys, man. Other than, you know, the Kush Groove shop, Ernest is actually an ex-athlete. I don't know if you still play.
Yeah, I retired, man.
You retired? He's an ex-athlete.
Yeah, former athlete.
Yeah, we actually went to high school together, so he played for the Cambridge Latin Falcons as well.
Yeah.
I believe you guys went to a championship of some sort.
Yeah, I went to a conference championship, but we didn't actually win. I think we went to a conference championship. That was about it. We beat Everett. That was our championship.
Oh, yeah.
What'd you play?
I played football, I wrestled, and I ran track during high school.
Nice.
So I played a lot of sports growing up. So, but yeah, we never won. Well, not when I was there. We didn't win a championship in football, but we beat Everett, so that was our championship.
Yeah, you know, every Thanksgiving, every Thanksgiving, everybody's there.
Nah, facts. So that was like that only remembrance I have of us like celebrating a major win like that. But yeah.
Yeah, and then after Cambridge Latin, where'd you go?
I went and played college football in Bridgewater, Massachusetts. At Bridgewater, I think they're Bridgewater State University now. So I played football over there. I wrestled for a hot minute, but I was mainly focused on football.
Nice.
Nice.
Word, that's what's up.
What position did you play there?
At college, I played like a will linebacker, so it was like a will safety linebacker. So I played in the back, and I also moved forward on like the linebacker depth. It's like a strong safety, pretty much. It's what a strong
Word.
To Pat
Yep,
Chung
yep.
or something.
Yeah, Pac Chung to Rodney Harrison, freaking my homeboy Sean Taylor, all these
Oh, yeah, rest in peace.
Yes, R.I.P.
Yeah,
R.I.P.
Yeah,
Yes,
like
yes.
that type of like safety linebacker. So yeah, that's
How'd you get into sports in general?
To be real, just being a young kid, immigrant kid from Haiti, I need a reason to be out of the house after school.
Word.
To keep it
Yo, I did
completely,
the same thing.
complete
yo.
1,000, just to like. That what interest, like I already enjoyed sports, like watching it.
Yeah.
But me getting involved in sports was the reason for me to be like not to come. I had a reason not to come home right after because I could tell my mother and my family that hey, I'm at sport practice. They're not doing their homework to see if I'm there or not. So
Word.
that what introduced me into just was that started off with I want to say I didn't play Papa Warner for Cambridge. But I played minor leagues, so I started off playing minor leagues. Then that evolved into me making the transition into like I played squash too. A lot of people may not be familiar with it, but I played squash, which is like it's similar to racquetball, it's just a slower paced
It's
ball.
the one you hit on the wall.
Yeah, it's the same thing, but it's just a slow. The racquetballs are blue and it's a faster ball, but squash is a black ball, and you really have to heat it up for it to like move.
Bounce.
So I played that.
Wow.
It was like I
Oh,
was.
you've never heard of squash?
I haven't
Yeah,
actually
it's real shit. I
played
actually
racquetball, but I
I played
haven't
it
played
for an
squash.
organization called Squash Busters. They actually came into like the community.
I actually know that organization.
Yeah, so like I was part of Team 2, and they came into the community and took like at-risk kids and kids that came from like poverty and just like didn't have the best opportunities, and they work with those kids and then introduce them into squash. Which honestly, if I chose squash over football, I probably wouldn't be here, just to be completely fucking good.
You would
I'd
have
probably be at an Ivy League school.
Right.
Who knows what my life would have turned out to? Like,
You
to
were
be
that
real.
good at it?
Yeah. No, I was good. Actually, I was actually ranked once
Yo,
upon a
you
time.
know we got abilities.
Nah,
man. Come
well, I
on,
was
man.
actually pretty good at it. I spent from 6th grade to 8th grade. In 8th grade, I stopped playing squash because gave me the like pretty much the ultimatum. Like, you're either gonna pick football or squash, and I wanted to go play football, like college, like high school football with my friends. So, but yeah, so I played a variety of sports, but my main 3 sports in high school was football, wrestling, and track. Then in college, I freaking played football mainly.
Yeah, you know what's funny? You mentioned the Squash Busters. I actually dated the daughter of the dude that runs that program.
Greg?
Nah, this is a new guy. It
Oh,
probably
okay.
changed after
Yeah.
he left.
It's
You know what I
probably,
mean?
yeah,
He
that's-
owns a squash
the Northeastern spot?
in Acton. Actually.
Okay, dope.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that, like, if you're the Squash Buster Club in Northeastern, like, I'm myself, but I was part of the reason that building was being built, because those Team 1 and 2 that contributed to, like, that organization to grow into what they are today, and they work with a lot of kids when it comes to education and sports, so they actually a pretty good program, and shout out to Greg Zaff, that was one of the that is the founder of Squash Busters, and salute to him, man, because he did a lot for me, and till this day he's still doing a lot of work for the community and for people.
Nice.
Right, that's what's up.
So obviously that's your sporting background. You was
Yeah.
a versatile guy. You got into a lot of stuff just to
Yeah.
make sure you stayed busy, and you know how the Haitian household is. You're
Yeah,
either
shout
at
out.
school, church, or home. You know what I mean?
Word.
L'école like à l'église, if you know what it is.
Word.
But definitely we're here just to talk about your college experience and your experience with cannabis, to be politically correct.
Yep.
You know, and I think we definitely want to ask you some questions about your sporting career and the involvement of cannabis.
Okay.
So, as far as cannabis goes, when did you start experimenting with that?
Well, when I physically experimented with it,
I got my.
it was probably 2001. Cannabis been around me because my older brother was like a Rastafarian growing up, and so I was always around him, and I always was around his friends whenever they were smoking. But my first experience was 2001, because I remember I was a freshman in high school, and I actually smoked a blunt with a fellow wrestler from Cambridge. I'm not gonna say his name either.
Word.
But like, yeah, that's when I got introduced. It was like, it's almost 20 years. So that was my first experience of smoking like weed, besides like catching contact, being around my brother and shit.
Word.
And-
Yeah, go ahead, Vlad.
That was like recreational, just like.
Yeah, well, I was always curious because, like I said, like my oldest brother is 44, the other one is 41, and I'm 33. So whenever they had to go out, they had to take me. So I was always around them growing up. And when the middle child, my older brother, like, he smokes a lot, and I used to always be around it and always got used to the scent and whatever, and always was curious.
Yep.
But my freshman year was one of those like peer pressure, like, yo, like, you ready to smoke? I'm like, yeah. One of those, like, and it was like,
Let's
and it
go.
was like gas too, because it came from somebody that, like, it was gas too, and it was like bugged me out. So it was,
Yeah.
I would say it was recreational. It was always been recreational for me.
Yeah.
It's always been recreational.
And when did you start smoking? Like either before sports game or after sports game?
So during college, like, me and one of my boys had like a ritual. Like, we'd have our Saturday mornings, like, we'd have Saturday games in the morning at like noon, but Friday after practice, after walkthrough and shit, we'll link up at one of another player's apartment, and we just be having the sights, like, blowing it down, just smoking. A lot of other former players and other friends are like, yo, dude, how y'all smoke this much weed before games? But
So it was before and after?
it was, yeah, but no, it was before, like,
Before the game?
I would say, because I can't say before, because we had Saturday morning games, and we'll wake up, we have team breakfast.
Right, you gotta come in
so
with the
we got to
team.
do that. So if I were to smoke before then, I'll wake up and take like 2 hits of whatever roach or blunt that was left there, and I'll just keep it
Yeah.
moving. But Friday night, though, it was strictly after dinner. We was just smoking blunts after blunts nonstop.
Wow. So, Barry.
Yes. So, did that help you on the field? And if so, how did smoke?
So the reason, I'm not a scientist, but our theory was because I actually experienced it and I felt it, but after Saturday, after Friday night, once I'm rested and I'm in bed and I wake up, the next morning, like, and even today's day when I work out and I'll smoke a blunt before or after, like, I feel rejuvenated. And with football, I don't know if any of y'all play like football, contact sports.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah,
like
I
your
play.
heart is racing. Your heart is racing constantly. You're fucking
Oh,
got
yeah.
the nerves and everything.
Oh,
so
yeah.
that played a lot of role for me because I used to be waking up that next morning. You're like waking up from like a weed fog and shit. So you're like you're real calm. You're not too nervous. It's intense because you got a game that you're about to go play at a collegiate level, but you're very calm. And come game day, when I'm on that field, my dude, I'm not shit you not. I'm moving like I feel like I'm moving like lightning, like nothing could stop me because because I feel like overnight my lungs just like rejuvenated and rested up. And came game day, my lungs has always felt fresh, like always felt fresh.
There's actually there's a lot of studies around
Okay.
this marijuana and sports stuff, and a lot of athletes actually say that they believe smoking before games actually boosts their stamina because like when they're on the field they can just focus on that one thing. They're there, and they're actually not nervous about it, and they have more fun doing that. You believe in that?
Yeah, because I didn't know about that study, and that's literally no, and I actually believe in that because like I actually experienced it, and it was just like, and it was even weird. That was even weird. It was one of those like one of my homies. I'm not gonna say his name as well, but he was one of the D tackles with me during my collegiate years. He used to be with around us, but he was never a smoker, nothing like that. He was always just like, yo, how y'all smoke this and that? I was like, yo, try it, my dude, just try it. I kid you not, yo. Came that Saturday, I forgot what college he was playing. This dude had one of his best games of his college career. And this dude came up to me and was like, yo, do that shit. I'm like,
That's crazy.
and it's like, and I don't know if it's like, and that those studies probably prove it, but I don't know if it was like something in his head that like switched something on, if the weed controlled his mind to where he built confidence where like my abilities surpassed what I was capable of doing because I was like, this dude told me that if I smoke weed, I would play better, and you actually were just playing, and you probably thought that weed helped, but to him, he was like, yo, that shit worked. And I was like, yo, dude, like, he's like, I could fucking play. I played 4 quarters, like, heavy breathing, but I'm good. Like, I'm good. My heart is racing, but it's just at a pace where I could control it. So I would say that helped me when it comes to just, like that's how it helped me on the field. It came and controlled my nerves. It kept me, like, just sane, honestly. And that tunnel vision shit is real.
Right.
Like, that shit is real.
Last year in the NFL, we actually saw Rob Gronkowski. Well, not last year, the year prior to that, we saw Rob Gronkowski actually retire.
Yeah.
And during one of his press conferences, he was pretty emotional about,
CBD
his reason for retiring. And one of his reasons was how much pain he was in, when you play in the NFL, especially because that's the highest level. Facts. And they always say that playing the game is like you get into a car crash, like every hit, every play. And I thought that was interesting because one of his stipulations was that he actually didn't want to come back in the league if he couldn't experiment with like CBD, and he actually got with a company and was doing a lot of advertisements and a lot of news conferences and things like that. So a lot of players believe that using CBD or marijuana helps them with like pain management. Yeah. What are your thoughts around that?
I agree. Like, I definitely agree. I don't know exactly what pain he was dealing with and whatnot. He probably was dealing with the chronic pain.
Well, he had like
the back,
surgery,
the back, word. So,
the arm surgery,
so I'm thinking like because I had some serious injuries, and I wouldn't say that like smoking weed, like I had like sprained like ligaments and stuff, so I wouldn't say like the weed would stop that pain because that pain was just atrocious.
Yep.
So I'm thinking he's speaking on the aspect of like the chronic pain that he dealt, like that's till to this day I wake up and I have sore knees when it rains and all the type of stuff from past injuries, and weed copes that for me, like it helps me out for that. So like during college football, I can't say that weed helped me with the pain because I had like sprained knees and stuff, like torn ligaments in my shoulder, which like no amount of pain weed you could smoke would stop that pain.
Word.
But in the process of the healing, it helped because I wasn't taking perks or painkillers or OCs like that, and like it helped because like on my mind, it took me away from the pain. Like I wasn't focused on the pain.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of other shit that it didn't focus where I'm focused on the pain. It's like, damn, my arm hurt now. But I would say that he's absolutely right, yo. It's fucked up because can I swear on my phone? Dude? It's
No, it's all good. Man.
No, I'm good, man.
It's a podcast. We do
it's
whatever.
fucked up.
Yeah,
'Cause,
no worries.
With medicine, they try to force these like athletes with like opioids and all sorts of type of painkillers, which is actually destroying them, and that could lead to addiction and all sorts of dark shit. So I feel like as a pro athlete and the level that he plays on and the type of athlete that he plays, like you have to try to destroy him and take his knee out and stuff to even take him down on the field. So
We saw that happen a bunch of times.
Oh yeah.
yeah, so it's right. He got his right to seek other medicines to like help him with his pain, and like with college, like the weed just helped me a lot, just mentally, pain wise. I just had some messed up injuries where no amount of weed could help, but for them like the after effect, definitely, like it was chronic pain still. Like I still suffer from knee injuries that I got in high school, and
That's crazy.
Been out of high school for 15 years, so. Like these things don't go away, so
Have you used CBD oil for any of those pains?
No, I've just used weed to be real
Just
with you.
weed.
But I've used probably like a CBD rub. Like
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
mean,
okay. Like I've used like ointment like that to rub, and that should help. Like
It
I've
helps
used
a lot,
because
yeah.
I have lower back spasms. Like I played football and wrestling. Wrestling really fucked up my shoulders and my lower back, and football fucked up my shoulders, my knees, and a lot of stuff. So it's like. I use a lot of CBD oil on my joints, like when it comes to my knees, like but I never use drops. My mother does. Like when she has chronic back pain.
And that helps her out. So.
Yeah, it helps her out a lot.
Did you introduce her to that?
Yeah, like me and my brothers actually introduced her, but I brought the idea to my brother, like, yo, because my mother was she had like spine injury, and she had spine surgery, so like she had a lot of chronic pain.
Because you know how our people are, you know what I'm saying?
And that's the crazy thing, because it was just a change of shift, because I'm sitting back, and I got beat up for having earrings and type of shit.
You got them whooping.
People are very strict. So to see that change, like a couple of years ago when we introduced my mother to like THC and CBD, and for her to like be like, yo, can you get me some more? It was just a bug out, because I'm like, she used to ill on me for smelling like weed, and now it's like she's using this plant to help her out in order to get through the day and like take away pain. So it was just like it's a wild bug out, but it's dope at the same time, and that right there should just tell. But you could go into deeper shit where like medicine, they ain't trying to lose a lot of money from natural medicine.
Right.
So
So earlier you were just talking about how when you smoke before the game and it gives you like tunnel vision, it helps you focus more, helps you relax more, and helps you play better. Do you feel as though because of that, weed is gonna be considered a performance enhancement? And
That's a good question.
that is a very good question. Yeah. I would say yes and no. No, because it's not actually making you stronger to hit like home runs like Mark McGwire or anything like that. Yes, where it's like allowing you to have a better focus than the player that didn't smoke weed or didn't take a THC drop or whatever. So I wouldn't say that weed gives me it's not like spinach. So when you take like Popeye and you smoke a blunt and you could freaking run 100, you have like 1,000 yards that game. So that argument could easily be like negated, because it's just like that's just somebody trying to make a point in an argument that really doesn't have much like yo, this and that, because you know what performance enhancing drugs do to a human body.
Right.
And you could be like, like you can see the deterioration. Like when I went 2005, my freshman year was like a major, like it was like performance enhancement drug was major. Like steroids was like I played with kids in college that was trying to push steroids on me, and I'm Haitian. I have natural abilities. I shit. I was in the gym all day. But I played with kids. And I played against kids who the whole team was on steroids, and it was like we didn't lose, but when they hit me, I felt that shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So, like,
Grown men.
Yeah, like,
Right.
I felt
But
that shit. So it
people
was just
against
like,
that too. Oh,
so
yeah.
it's just like it's hard to make that argument because there's really not much comparison because there's no somebody that smokes weed and the police is trying to freaking hold him down and they throw the cops off at him type of shit like he's freaking He-Man type. But like, if they make that argument, they're just reaching, man. At that point,
I mean, I don't know if you know the answer to that, but did people use Adderall a lot?
I would say more students use Adderall in college in general just to stay up and do
But
work.
what about athletes? Did they
Athletes,
use
I
Adderall?
never, to be honest, I've never heard of like athletes to use Adderall. I always like compare Adderall to like a night thing, like whenever, especially when I was in college, a lot of people that brought up like Adderall is always had to do with like, yo, I need to do study, I need to stay up, this and that.
Right,
Stay
right.
focused.
So I've never heard of like athletes like, yo, I need to take this Adderall so I could fucking stay focused in this game type of shit.
Right,
Like,
right.
If that was the case, I'm sure that Adderall would have been popping. It would have been
Facts, though.
popping. But
No,
yeah,
you're right.
honestly, I never heard that concept. It could be true, to be honest, but I never heard of that though. Yeah.
Gotcha. Now, you have any question?
I did want to ask. So, what does the use of marijuana mean for young athletes?
That question, what does marijuana mean for young athletes?
Yeah,
Right, like, cause as far as the sporting industry, they automatically you're like a role model and stuff like that.
Word, I would say to answer that because if I'm looking at myself as a young athlete back then, like we come from a time where it was like a fraternity of like people that smoke weed. Like we didn't want to publicize it. It wasn't supposed to be like, yo, I smoke weed type of shit. So
Well, it wasn't decriminalized yet.
that
either.
too as well.
Yeah.
Word.
You know?
So it was more like it was just a cool factor if he was in it or not. Like today, it's hard for me to say because anything could be cool to these kids.
Right.
So these kids could be like a young athlete now could be like, yo, I just want to smoke weed because freaking Matt Barnes has a podcast that talks about
Right.
weed, and I want to be like him type
Uh-huh.
of shit. And it might not be no correlation. He just want to be. He's attracted to weed because his favorite player or whatever smokes weed type of shit. Not really, he might not even be a smoker, so it could just be a cool factor to kids today. Like to me, then it was just like exclusive, like a fraternity. Like either you do it or you don't, because then, like you said, it wasn't decriminalized, so people were just like, well, castrate, oh, you smoke weed, this
Oh
and
yeah,
that.
you're automatically
Now
a
it's
bad
like
person.
you smoke weed, yo, me too, like da da da. So it's like, to a young athlete today, it might be a little different because it's like it's a cool thing to do, and they probably don't understand like the history
Right.
of just medicine and sports in general.
Yeah.
Like to me, what weed meant to me in sport, I was like, I thought that shit was just never gonna happen. Like I never even thought of the idea of them even entertaining like they could possibly make it legal.
Right.
But do you think because let's say weed is accepted as a pain management medicine or whatever, do you think they're gonna prescribe it to young athletes if they can?
In the future, I would say so because one, like our current president, whatever, Joe Biden, he's proposing that.
Whatever
He's
the fuck she
proposing
did.
whatever his
that,
name
like,
is.
one of his, I don't know if people are like hip to what's going on with, but one of his shit is like, yo, if he becomes president, he's willing to allow marijuana to be legal on the federal aspect when it comes to medicine. So like, so that it's not gonna be legal on the federal like level where it's like regular people, everybody can smoke weed now, but he'll allow it that marijuana could be used as a medicine as a substitute to like other opioids and opiates and other fucking painkillers. So I can see that happening within the next like 3 to 5 years tops, because that's what he's proposed. I don't know, politicians, you can never believe anything they say before they're in office. So
I mean, we're here because of politicians. Period.
Exactly.
So a lot of people don't know like the history of marijuana.
Yeah.
It's actually been around forever.
yeah, it was actually found in Buddhist monks like graves as medicine and shit. So
it's been here forever, and in 1937 they started taxing it, and then in 1971 Nixon declared the war on drugs. So he actually declared that marijuana is the enemy of the people. You know what I'm saying? So then they had the harsh stipulations for it, and thus, you know, the bad stigma. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't want it to be legalized because actually it was up for legalization or decriminalization, and he was just like, nah, this is like a drug. So they elevated to a Class A drug, and then you had Clinton that came in and did the, you know, the act, war on drugs and all that stuff, and got our people behind bars and shit like that. So a lot of people don't know the real history, and it's definitely stigmatized, man.
My fault, I don't mean to cut you off, but it's crazy that you say the 1937, because if you're familiar with the rolling 40s with the whole freaking prohibition, like it feels like this prohibition was around that same time, and it feels like weed and prohibition was probably at a race, and the liquor got through, and it was just like, yo, the weed, we're not gonna fuck with it, because they probably realized that there's so much abundance of this shit that they can't really control the bread. So when it comes to bootlegging and all that shit, that they was like, yo, we could control the tax on that, we could get a tax on that.
That's right.
So I think they just was like, yo, we could never fully get whatever we want to steal from these people, and we're gonna make this shit illegal and just start, assassinating the plant's character, because at the end of the day, like, this shit's a natural
it's a fucking
plant. And and it's facts. It's like, I think, I don't quote me on it, but I think it's a mummy that was like found in this tube with something that might have, like, I don't know, could have been weed. Right. But there's been like Buddhists, like from centuries ago, that's been buried with plants. So it's like, all right, so what's the truth? But what do you know about this plant? Does this plant actually give us superpowers, if you want to speak when it comes to the sports thing? So are you trying to prevent us to be woke if we smoke too much of this shit, and like you're preventing it and using it as like, hey, we can't let these people get smart and get privy to what really goes on if they really open their third eye if they smoke enough weed type of shit.
Well, I think it comes down to like regulation, because you could easily regulate like liquor, you know what I'm saying? You gotta brew it, you gotta do a lot of shit to get that, but marijuana, they still can't even tell, how high you are. Well, they come up with certain things now.
That 4 years ago, they couldn't tell that. Now they close to telling that. So there's technology that's going actually right now down the street. MIT is one of the people that's one of the first placed laboratories that was testing like how somebody is high and type of shit. Right. So that shit's gonna be soon. It's gonna happen within the next. It was just a race that was, even with the turnaround, like with us, with the process of trying to open 3 dispensaries. Like we've been trying to do that shit for 3 years, but COVID obviously put a halt on it. But it's like this shit, it's due process, man. Like it's due process. But like this, I think at this point, it's growing, and if Biden does stick, or if I just wish it was never. I don't even want to even like regardless, man. Like I feel like power to the people. I feel like if enough noise is made of something and scientific facts has backed it, that laws has to change. And I think right now we live in a time where stuff is being exposed from old laws to new laws. So and it's like so it's changing. So there's probably something hidden somewhere that there's probably a law that somebody signed was like, yo, make weed legal, and somebody in power saw that, was like, nah, he's about to take money out of my pocket. Let me scratch that. Right.
Actually, the NFL is gonna stop testing
I
for
saw
it.
That.
So that's one major sport that is going away from it, and I'm glad because it's weed, dude.
But also, companies, the NFLs are smart. Like, they their product probably uses this thing that you're trying to ban. Right. So if you're trying to create friction, you might end up losing money like that.
Oh no, that makes sense.
So
now you
it's
can open certain things up.
Yeah. So it's like cool. Like if let's say 90% of NFL players smoke weed, and you're trying to tell us, no, we can't test this shit. Maybe they don't want to come play for your market. They don't want to bring their fame or whatever dollars to your establishment. So it's like now they're getting hip. It's like you see with these companies, like everybody wants to fuck with black people. So not just to keep it completely real.
It's the new green.
But it's like that's why you just gotta be. What people do. These same people that's making these laws and telling us that they've been smart for a long time, and it's like they've been trying to outsmart us by technology and books and all sorts of dumb shit. But it's like really our turn right now to outsmart them and just to be 2 steps ahead, because it's good that I'm sure the NFL is gonna it's probably gonna be some shit that comes with it though.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like you gotta pay some. Say you sign a $400 million deal like fucking Mahomes, and you ask him the question of the contract: do you smoke weed? Yes. That's $200 million out of that contract.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's
That's
like-
messed up.
They're gonna
But
use it against you somehow.
It's a way to
Oh,
finesse to
man.
make money. So it's like, so I'm sure they're not just, wow, all these years you said no, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So we'll see, man. It's dope that they finally, cause I just hope players ain't gonna become, potheads. Like, don't fuck up. Yeah, don't come to the game super high and
Right.
fucking do a drop back and have a high moment and not fucking.
real.
You throw the ball right
For real.
to the other team.
So, but that's the only thing. But yeah, like it's dope. It just shows you that change is coming, and the future is not the new. This is the new normal. Like,
Right. To follow up with it, so now that the NFL is legalizing it, or not testing for it, or sending players
Yeah.
off to AA meetings and all
Yeah.
that bullshit, how long do you think it's gonna take the other teams to get on board with that?
They'll get on board immediately because it's a fraternity. Like, these are billionaires. Like, they all sit in the same room, so they're like, oh, Joe did this shit. Joe just made 130 million last year because I only made 90. So they're gonna get on board, man. They're all on code, so it's all a fraternity. They're a billionaires club, so they're like, all right, cool, all right. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I'm sure they just win. Just like when it came to 2015 when they made it, when it was implementing the marijuana laws. Like, you see different states was just waiting to see what Massachusetts did,
Right.
like Rhode Island did, or this and that. Then they was like, all right, cool, we're open to doing it. Like, there's gonna be a lot of states that's gonna be open to marijuana because they see other states. They saw what fucking happened in Denver and Michigan and shit. Everybody saw that Denver used marijuana to resource and give
The
back to the
COVID
community.
testing and
Yeah, they
give back to the
they
school
fucking send
and
people to school for free,
Yeah.
man, dude. Off of weed.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that.
Right.
that means we need to move.
So it's like
Facts.
they built the whole economy, like funded people with jobs, like education off of weed. So it's like it works. So it works for them. So obviously it works, but
I mean,
the politics come.
the country's run by old white men, so
Yeah,
it's different. What
But it's
they do.
changing, man. It's changing, dude. It's changing because now that it's a shift of the culture. Like you said, the country's run by, but now this country might be run by white dudes that smoke weed. So, so black dudes that smoke weed. So it's changing. So that was all those old, like, whatever people that had their one side, they're dying out and whatever. And it's just like the change will come because I'm sure there's somebody in politics right now that's open to talk about that he smokes weed because it's accepted now.
Right. Not just like waiting until they retire
Yeah.
for you to.
They're like, oh, yeah,
I smoke
right.
every day.
So it's like, we'll just see, man. That's pretty much.
What do you see the future of marijuana in sports looking like?
I feel like going hand in hand. I feel like medicine companies that was pushing the pain medicine is gonna try to invest into weed and push whatever weed that they try to put on them. So I think they're really just gonna go hand in hand at some point where it's like the NFL is gonna have weed commercials. Like, when NFL's gonna have weed fucking mascots at halftime. And like, I feel like they're gonna go hand in hand because it's just like, it's right, you're kind of like, and I don't use my word wisely, but like, you're kind of oppressing weed smokers. Like, you're kind of oppressing these type of people because they do these certain things.
Mhm.
So right now we're in a world where everybody's going against hate. Everybody's going against hate. So there's an argument there like, yo, don't judge me because I smoke weed type of shit. So I think it's...
So the stereotypes are
Yeah, the stereotype, and that's what it is. Like,
The stigmas.
the stigma, true. They know, like, even before Kush Groove, all of us, me and my other partners, we've been advocates, we've been fighting for, we tried to be the #1 black-owned dispensary in Massachusetts, but we're gonna be #2, so we'll settle for that.
Yeah.
But we've been the
I
forefront.
mean, how many are there?
Nah, word.
That
but
can't be much.
Yeah, like, we fought the fight, and it's like, we took a lot of brute, like, the people throwing the tomatoes, the trash, like, we stood for that, like, yo, like, we need change, this and that. And now everybody want to get on board and shit.
Right, and you
it's
see the
just like-
licenses going out to.
Word. It's like you got federal judges who invested in dispensaries.
Wow.
So you got prosecutors
Hypocrisy.
who are invested. You got state troopers who are invested in dispensaries.
Wow.
And I can
That's
say
crazy.
that because like
It is.
my other partner's been in meetings where a former like state like a high ranking like sergeant, like he's retired now, but he's trying to push weed.
He knows it's big business.
Word, but you spent
Facts.
majority of your career locking people up for the
Yep.
same business that you're trying to tap into. So it's like, yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said it. How do you feel about, I know it's a major issue, with marijuana, with the shift it's taken, becoming, more and more accessible, dispensaries popping up left and right,
Mhm.
but there's still guys, in the pen, behind bars and stuff like that for,
It's fucked
weed
up.
and stuff.
No, it's fucked up. That's the only way you could really put it, because you're telling me that you could have let these dudes off.
Yeah.
So that's all you're really telling me. There's no ifs or buts about it. Like, a dude that got caught with a joint in 1970 that's did 10 years for that, like, should have had done that.
Right.
That time.
Right, facts.
And people
Big
that are in
facts.
jail
Yeah, right now. Like,
right now
shouldn't be doing like it's like, all right, cool. You know how they let everybody out do the COVID and the risk? How about you start
Right,
opening these
right.
cases and looking into like,
Facts,
all right, let's
exactly.
lock up these rapists, murderers, and these people that deserve to be here. But if I'm a kid, a dumb kid, and somebody just convinced me to go make a play for 4 pounds, and I don't know nothing about it, I'm just thinking about, yeah, I might make a quick
Yeah,
little
make some money.
$400,
Right.
and I
About
get
to
pulled
have a
over.
come up, right,
Alright, I
right.
get pulled over and get in trouble. How about you just teach me and educate me on not getting in trouble, instead of like, fuck it, I'm gonna throw this person in jail and give him this amount of time, and he doesn't know right from wrong now because he's in the system that's gonna probably breed more hate in him. He's gonna come out probably even a lot worse than he went in.
Facts.
So
No
it's
doubt.
like nobody wins at the end of the day. So it's like, for this shit though, with the laws being changed, like, yo, release a lot of these men. If they didn't like kill somebody, well, I don't think I'm sure there's cases of people that got killed during a transaction of weed, whatever.
Sure.
But if you're fucking
Or
just
greedy
like,
people.
yeah. But if you're just a dude that got caught up with an ounce or whatever, then back then before it became decriminalized, it's like, yo, I shouldn't be facing 10 years, 7 years, non-violent crime.
There's nothing you can do about it either.
So there's no way to really look around it. Like, it's just fucked up. Like, at the end of the
Right.
day, it's just fucked up.
I know you're not a politician or anything, but if you had the chance, like, how would you go about, getting these guys out of their situations?
I would fucking take them home and give them investments and shares to some
Whew.
revolutionary.
Ooh.
Give them one share. Give
Yeah.
everybody
Ooh.
now. Give them a
Word,
share of your
word.
company, yo.
That's real.
At the end of the day, give them a share. That's right, because there was entrepreneurs before you even thought about
Straight up.
becoming a-
Facts.
They were doing what you like. Me, you're like, oh, you about to open it. When I was young, like, was I an entrepreneur then, not knowing, unknowingly, or like?
Right.
So it's like, all right, cool. Y'all want to do all this shit? Let the dudes out and give them a share. Give them one share of each dispensary.
No, that's interesting. I've
It's a
never
lot
heard
to
that.
ask
Nah,
you for.
that'd be dope.
Nah, but
That'd
that
be
shit's like
awesome.
word. Like, give them a share. Like, because now you about to make. You see the numbers. It's like the numbers is ridiculous that people
It's
make
money,
in
man.
6 months. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like that money you had was that those people that sat in that jail cell, like, they lost family members, careers, people they know. They lost everything, like, throughout the time that you was able to become a millionaire or billionaire whatsoever. So it's like, give them something, because at the end of the day, like, they stood in that cell and made the state lots of money as well, because prisoners is good money to house a person and feed them and shit. So it's like, match it.
Right.
Just match it. Like, how
Right.
much did I make for those 10 years that I served for this crime? Like, how much did the state make? Oh,
Right.
you made just say $250,000 just me being housed here for
A
these
person.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
person just for this time. Match it then.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Match it. Because at the end of the day, you can't tell me that I'm coming home from doing however many years for selling weed, and I come home and you tell me I can walk in here and
It's
get some
kids
weed.
buying it.
Like, I could come into this dispensary and buy weed and look at the dude in the eye and be like, have a nice day, thank you. And be like, fuck, why did you tell me that shit? It's just, there's a lot of, but yeah, that's my, give them something, like, give them something, because it's like, I'm not telling them give them money right there and then, but give them a share, something that in the long run they're gonna benefit. Give them multiple shares, like, so that's what I would do.
So if that was like your final pitch to like the people that open pretty much the the people that are, what would you call it, they're at the gate. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? They got the
gatekeepers,
opening.
man.
Would that be your pitch to them?
I would, because it makes the most logical sense. I'm like, giving somebody a share, you're not giving them money right now. Like, you're not giving them a suitcase full of money, so it's not, you're not losing much at all. Giving somebody 1 share or 2 shares or 3 shares to a company that's making like $1 billion revenue every year is not gonna make a dent in anybody's wallet. So if they don't understand that, then I'm like, all right, you're just being greedy. Like, you're just being greedy. That's all it really is. It's like, it's not gonna cost you a penny or anything now. Maybe in the long run, but right now, no. Like, because that share that's worth $120,000 that you just gave this man, I'm sure you just made it before your business closed.
Wow. Yeah.
Because it's a big business. We're tapping into the recreational side, like trying to open these dispensaries, but I'm here and I listen to them. Like, I listen to this shit.
Right.
Like, I listen to, like, it's some money made. It's a trap house.
Get the
It literally is. You see the people.
You're right. That's facts.
This is how they
They're
used to
behind
do in
the
the
glass.
80s when they, like, if you're not familiar with in the crack era, like, they used to have lines outside and they had a window that people, there's a cheese
It's the
line.
trap house.
It's like, yo,
And they got dudes up front.
Yes,
Security.
it's like you got security. They used to have a dude outside the trap house with a shotgun.
Straight up.
So it's like, what's the difference? Who's a criminal? Say that's the real question. Like, who's a criminal? It's like, who's a criminal? So
Right.
it's like, this is a trap house. If you're just like a pharmaceutical company, it's a trap house. If you're telling me, oh, you want me to, I used to work, and I worked 6 years in the drug addiction field. So it's like, how you gonna tell somebody that's been addicted to heroin and you bring them to a fucking drug addiction program and you got them addicted to Suboxone now, and it's like, now they try to fight the methadone.
That's an issue.
And it's like, yo, dude, like, how can you try to solve a problem with another problem?
Right.
So,
Right. It makes no sense.
but yeah,
It is what it is, man. Well, man, thank you so much for
No doubt,
doing the
man.
interview
Yes,
with
thank
us,
you,
man.
man. Appreciate
It's been a
you.
real good conversation.
shout out to Flicker, yo.
Yes,
supposed
big
to do
shout out
business
to
with y'all,
Flicker.
like, probably
No doubt.
3-4 years ago on some other shit. I think y'all reached out to us.
Yeah. You know.
But shout out to them, man.
Definitely, and Flickr, that's our sponsors for this week. So that's FLKRLY TR Flickr Lighter, and we got one on the show, so you'll see us on social media with them. So shout outs to them, get them on social media, and join their Kickstarter, man. They're good guys, you know. They're young and they're entrepreneurs and they're doing things out here. They're not waiting for anything.
And my fault.
No, go ahead.
Then I like the name because in 2008, I had I opened my first business which was a recording studio with rappers and shit. And one of our names for the group in 2008 was called Flicker Gang, and it was actually based off of, like, because we smoked so much weed, we constantly fucking lighting lighters and shit. That was the name. That was 2008. So I see Flicker where I'm like, man, that's just L, because it's just documented. Because we had songs with Flicker Gang, so it's just like, it's just dope to see in 2020, like, oh, word, like that. There's still a play on that name. So that's
It's like coming around full circle. Right.
Nah, but this shit.
No, that is dope. That is awesome.
It's crazy. Like, I should have made that idea, man.
Shout out to Leandro and John, man.
Nah,
they're doing a real good job out here. They got other businesses too where they help move people out, you know, places. So they hustling, man.
Yeah, they're doing their thing. They're doing big
God's
things.
work, man. Doing shit for the community. That's what it's all about. Is just helping others. And I think if we move forward in the times that we in by helping each other, yo, like all this bullshit, this shit that they try to create from division to just hate, bullshit hate that's not there.
Right.
It's like it's just a lot of this stuff is, you know, television programming, like that's how it's programmed. Like all these things was
Brainwash you,
created,
bro.
like,
For real, straight up.
not to take any more of your time.
Think for yourself.
Quick homework. Like, the internet was originally created by the military. The military used it, was used as a weapon to pretty much network with other military stuff. They realized that it could be used to the public as a way for intelligence, and they gave it to us. So, quick homework, quick history lesson. Al Gore was like, shit. Whereas before, you gotta say World Wide Web. when people was privy to that World Wide Web, and I just learned this as well. And I'm not trying to say this, I just learned this, so I'm just passing the knowledge and the information.
Right.
But it was originally World Wide Web, and as you think of all this, World Wide Web, and if you look at a spider web, everything starts in the middle and it just spans out, and everything still connects. So they dropped it and made us say www, because if we kept saying World Wide Web, we'll probably wake up at some point and be like, oh, these motherfuckers is
We're the fucking web.
So
we're being tracked
yeah,
at all
so
times.
when you see like these different algorithms on the internet and like this shit's all created. It's created by somebody that created this thing for us to be friendly and how they pitch it to us. Like, oh, just have social media and be friendly. Nah, man, we're being spied on, one. And two is just like, yo, it's like, you really can't do shit. So just be careful, man, when it comes to just like social media and just like everything out there. But we really need to spread love, dog, because it's just like Michael Jackson said that shit before he died, untimely. He said, yo, if this world doesn't spread love, and just think about when Michael Jackson died. That shit was years ago. He said, if this world does not spread any love, like, we're gonna be doomed. And I look back at it like, he was absolutely right.
Word, man.
That's
2020
facts.
is
That
gonna
makes
be
a
real,
lot
man.
of sense.
It does.
And he was wearing masks back then too.
Yeah,
so,
he was
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
That's another.
Maybe he was
that's
onto something.
That's right. That's another topic of discussion with you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
No, I definitely want to get you back on the show. I think you're definitely somebody that has a lot of different thoughts, different ways of thinking, and we like that on this show. And again, we at Kush Groove. If you don't know what that is, come through and shop with them.
You can follow us on Instagram at the Kush Groove Shop. You can also follow us at Kush Groove or www.kushgroove.com. We are on pretty much all the platforms, Facebook. You could go online and log into, if you go on www.com, kushgroove.com, you can see the petition we're trying to open 3 dispensaries, one in Boston, one in Cambridge, and the other one in Brockton. So we're just trying to get people that live in those towns to sign the petition, because we're gonna go for the community hearing soon, and we just wanna, just show that we have support and that people are backing us. So, thank you. I appreciate you guys, yo. This is ill, man. This is what we need, though. We need stuff like this for the culture and for the community and for us, yo. Because we've been watching celebrities do this shit for so time. Like we've been watching gatekeepers,
right,
for a long
Straight
time.
Why not us?
Yo. Pro Fan Sports, thank you guys for coming through, yo. You guys are welcome here anytime. This location and
Appreciate
Boston,
that.
and our doors
Thank you
will
for
always
having
be
us.
open
Yeah.
to
Appreciate it, man.
as well as Flickr World. We definitely talk and just see what we could do in the future together, collab, and and just go from there, man.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, thanks for having us come through. Appreciate it. It's been awesome.
Yes, sir. So it's been John Altidor, Vlad, Barry, and our boy Ernst Appolon at the Kush Groove Shop, and sponsored by Flickr. Flickr gangs in the building. So
Shout out to the Flickr boys.
Shout out to Flickr gang, man. T-Man, yo. We had some great records back then, yo. If we kept up with the rap shit, we probably would have been.
For real.
Y'all would have blown up.
Right, shit, but everybody had their path. So shout out to
no
Flickr
doubt.
gang, T-Man, yo.
Alright, we out.
Alright, peace.
That was perfect.
Alright, good show, fellas.
What?
That was good.
That was beautiful.
That was awesome.
Oh,
yeah.
thank you, man.
Beautiful.